The Witch's Curse is a Swedish story. Once upon a time, in the deep forests of Sweden, there lived a witch. Her name is Eris. Eris had very strong magical power, but there was a certain curse on that magical power. When she was still young, she really wanted to be a witch who could help people. However, one day, she was betrayed by the villagers, and her heart was stained with darkness. In that village lived a certain prince who tried to test Eris. The prince wanted to show her magical powers, so he made an unreasonable request to Eris. "Give me the power of immortality with magic," said the prince. Eris was puzzled by the request and was at a loss for an answer, because she knew the dangers of immortal magic. However, Elis, heartbroken by the prince's rude words, decided to use magic to curse the prince. She told the prince, he cursed, "If you want to be immortal, you will become an immortal forever, and you will be bound to this world forever." At that moment, the prince had eternal life, and his body never grew old and did not die. But at the same time, the prince began to feel deep loneliness in his heart, and no one could approach him. The prince left the village and continued to live alone in the forest. Eris gradually understood how serious the curse he had placed on the prince was, and regret weighed heavily on his heart. She continued to look for a way to break the curse, but no matter how much magic she used, she could not break the prince's curse. Years later, Eris finally made up her mind. "If I gave the prince eternal life, now I must do everything in my power to break the curse." Thinking so, she went to the forest again to break the prince's curse. When she reached the place where the prince was, Eris said to the prince, "I want to break the curse I have placed on you, but there is one condition for that." When the prince heard that, he replied in surprise, "If there are conditions, let's accept them." Eris continued quietly, "If you seriously consider and reflect on what you have done in the past and how you should live your life from now on, and are prepared to help people with all your heart, then I will lift the curse." The prince took the words deeply and replied after thinking for a long time, "Until now, I have only focused on having power. From now on, let's change our minds and live for others." There was a serious determination in the eyes of the prince. Eris believed her words and began to use magic to break the curse. The magical power was poured into the prince, and gradually the light filled the prince's surroundings, and the curse was lifted. For the first time, the prince was truly free. The prince thanked Eris and vowed, "I will never again be caught up in a greedy heart." Eris was also happy that the prince had sincerely reflected and grown up. After that, the prince returned to the village, helped each other with the villagers, and lived as a kind-hearted leader. And Eris also vowed to use her power for the people as a witch and continue to protect the village and the surroundings of the kingdom. That's it.